The Vols are back.
Yeah. Money make the world go round. I'm trying to get it all right now. Everybody worried about the crown big. Look, homie, I'm the man right now. Talking to a peon, kind of time we on. Jump roll like the kind of take eons. Got a little buzz, it's time to go beyond. Can't look back, no time to hit rewind. Yeah, she wants to do S class. I'm like, boo, you must ask. They pour way too much in your glass. Just move your hips like a hold up class. Hit the gab, I talk that gas. Strut like up, man, I walk that shit. When I'm up, that's it. I'ma start living reckless. Get that bag, I'ma walk like this. Yeah, I'ma walk like this. Hit that lane, I'ma walk like this. Walk in the spot, but they all get lit. Tell them on flow, let me talk my shit. Every song bang when they drop in hit. Said on the man, post stop, no miss. Over your head, next time, don't slip. Play your part, better read that script. Yeah, I'ma walk like this.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you already know what time it is. I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. It's time for more suffering, because guess what? This, we had another big fat disappointment this last week, courtesy of the 10% talent fee, so thank you very much for that. Anyway, oi fellow comrades, it is Squidtard here, along with my man, Mr. Lucas Sharp, fellow co-host, and down there is our special guest who's taking over in Julio's spot, Mr. Texas A&M man, Goob. How you doing, buddy?
Could be better.
Spectacular.
Also could be worse.
Yeah, no, I could be doing better too after what your baseball team did. You know, to be fair to our baseball team, at least we didn't get swept by a team that was 0-24 in the conference. So I'm sorry to throw strays at you, but it's the truth.
Nah, we deserve it.
Yeah, no, that's pretty bad. But anyway, everybody, welcome to the Volstar podcast. We do this show every single Monday at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully, Goob made that shot I just saw him make. Unfortunately, we could not get the view on that. But anyway, I do appreciate everybody for being on here tonight. We got a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about some football stuff, obviously. We'll bring up our baseball team. And then as we do with every opposing fan base here on our Volstar podcast, we'll let Goob give his schedule preview and prediction for his Texas A&M Aggies in football. So with all that being said, let's roll into the football talk for today. So here's something that this isn't really news. There's no news on the football today or any for this week, really any of this week for that matter. But this is something that has made me really, really frustrated this past week, and it's in regards to everybody's way too early top 25. Everybody has been, all these analysts have been releasing their what they call it, their spring or their way too early top 25, and as you all know, as long as there's one team that they disagree with, then, you know, it's stupid, it sucks, it's the worst, you know, poll you've ever seen in your life. But that's not what I'm mad about. Here's what's got me so frustrated. So most of these analysts in question, okay? Most of these analysts in question, going right into the end of the 2024 season, they gave their 2025 way too early top 25. And it had Tennessee, you know, ranging anywhere from top 10 to top 15, but nowhere beyond that sort of spot. Everybody thought Tennessee was at least a top 15 team. And they all gave the same reasoning. Tennessee's got a really good defense. They're going to have a really good defense again this year. But what they're lacking is in quarterback. And basically what they're saying is Nico is holding the team back, but Tennessee's still going to be a 9-10 win team is basically what they're saying. So that's where, they had Tennessee around the 10 to 15 type of range. But now that Nico has hit the transfer portal, well, people are saying the same thing. Oh, Tennessee's sort of held back on the quarterback position. The difference is, let me show you a top 25 to prove my point. Look at that. Tennessee not in sight. Nowhere. Not even in the top 25. And it's not just this one either. It's not just this one. It's a lot of them. Here, you want more proof? Here's another one for you. And here's another one for you. And here's another one for you. And here's another one for you. This one at least had the courtesy of putting Tennessee at number 24, but this is what's irritating me about this. Why is it that Nico hits the portal when you said Nico was the problem? That's why Tennessee was stuck in the 10 to 15 range, because Nico was the problem. The problem hits the portal, but now, suddenly, instead, Tennessee's now a fringe top 25 team and will be lucky to win 6 games. What are we doing here? Has everybody's brain just gone on airplane mode? Like, what? At least don't immediately have a double standard. This is basically proof that a lot of these people make these polls for rage bait and nothing more. And this is courtesy of all Twitter and all those other morons over there. Not everybody over there is a moron, but point being, they know that if they have any sort of engagement revolving around negativity towards Tennessee, then these Tennessee fans, these Vol Twitter people, are going to go like rabid animals and just, the keyboard and you get the idea. And as you all know, engagement equals money. So there you go. That's all there is to it. But it does irritate the hell out of me. They even went the extra mile of making sure that Texas A&M was ranked in the top 15, so that way we can just go ahead and get the overrating A&M part of the top 25 out of the way. And I'm sure you can agree with me on that.
Big brand. Money. I like big brand, therefore I like money.
Mm-hmm. To be fair, it's not just you. You still have dummies, these analysts over here ranking Iowa. And then when you ask them, why in the world would you rank Iowa? I don't know. They're a placeholder. That's what they are. They're a placeholder, because by the time you get to, 22 through 25, you're like, boy, who should I put here? I'm not going to put in the research and think about which team I'm putting here. We're just going to slip in Iowa and hopefully nobody will give a shit. No, that's not how it works. You're going to get criticism for it. But, yeah. My gripe is the double standard. It's got nothing to do with the top 25. If you have a legitimate reason as to why Tennessee is ranked there, other than, well, they lost Nico, who I said was a problem, but now that Nico's at UCLA, now he's going to throw for 3,000 yards and UCLA is going to go to the playoffs. Like that, if you believe that Tennessee is a fringe top 25 team without Nico, then you must believe that Nico is good enough to win UCLA 8, 9, 10 games. But of course they don't think that. They think UCLA's just as terrible. So I don't. It doesn't add up at all. Let's see. I forgot to interact with the comments real quick. Let's see who's in the comments section. Young Man Connor, fired. Yeah, a lot of people need to. A lot of these engagement baiters over on Twitter need to get their asses fired. Matt Dummett, don't call me Doom It, damn it. What's up, buddy? Super Nuclear, is Lucas raging at Sonic Mania again? Not today.
Super Nuclear at this point, he's already, if engagement farming was a thing on YouTube with the live chat, he'd already be doing that, because already 10 seconds in, he's already mentioning my name. Who would have thought?
Well, that's more Lucas. That's Lucas engagement. That's not really any sort of engagement other than that.
Yeah,
and obviously it worked. Terrible album reviews. At least you guys aren't the Rockies. None of these lists have Rutgers, therefore they are invalid. Rutgers is more. I would say Rutgers is more of a reasonable pick for a top 25 than Iowa. Just throwing that out there. It's not really that much of a stretch. Nico leaving was an addition by subtraction. You curious George McIntyre as starter Voltards?
It's going to be Joey Aguilar. It's not going to be McIntyre.
But yes, he is right. It is probably going to be Aguilar. No, Merck lost his spot, I think, in the spring game. Get me on the show. It'll be hilarious. I bet it would.
No.
I bet it would. If we're looking for a Kentucky man down the line, we'll probably bring you on at some point. All right, then.
No.
Well, enough of that. Blah, blah, blah. All right, let's talk about some things real quick. So, obviously, we got to talk about the baseball teams. Both of our teams. Boy, they're terrible. Terrible, absolutely terrible. It doesn't happen often. It barely happens. It's like a green moon, but it happened. Tennessee lost a series in baseball versus the Vanderbilt Commodores. We won the first game and then predictably collapsed in the last two. Really, all you can chop that up to is just no motivation, bad pitching, and the usual problems. Lucas, what do you think? What's wrong with this team, man?
I don't know. It's just this team is young. Literally, most of the starters now are pretty much freshmen and sophomores. This team is young. We lost a lot of stars off of last year's national championship winning team. And not to mention, the pitching this year just ain't as good as it was last year. William Doyle, as of late, has been our only good pitcher. And that's why we keep winning, of course, on our first game. And we go out and die the other twos because William Doyle, of course, he starts on Friday. He's the Friday starter. But Saturday and Sunday, we just don't have any good other starting pitchers. We don't. I mean, now people are going to say Marcus Phillips. I mean, he's okay, but it's still. And also Dean Curley. I don't know what happened to Dean Curley. He was so good for us last year. And then the year before. And then Dean Curley, he saw he was draft eligible this year. You know, he saw that he was draft eligible after this year. If he had a good season, he was like, you know what? I'm just going to dip so I can have another year at Tennessee. I mean, I guess he enjoys staying at Tennessee that much because he freaking sucked this year. But it's whatever. I don't know. This team, they just ain't got it this year like they did last year. But like I said, this team is young. I think they're gonna figure it out next year. I think next year Tennessee baseball is going to be a lot better because, you know, they'll have a year of experience under their belt. But honestly, if you look at it, these championship winning teams, after they win the championship, for some reason they've always had like a down year. Like look at LSU. They won the championship in 23 and then they had a bit of a down year in 24.
Yeah, same thing appears to be the case for the championship runner-up, too. Ain't that right, Goob?
Yeah, so we're going to preface this like this. Going into the Mizzou series this weekend, we needed to win 4 of the last 6 games we have. Even if we somehow miraculously beat the Dogs in Athens, which I don't think is going to happen, we don't have a guaranteed spot in the postseason anymore. You had one series to not fuck up, and then you proceed to make Mizzou look like, I don't know, prime LSU back when they was winning natties consistently.
Youch. No, that is bad. Let me point this out again for everybody listening. In case you aren't aware, Missouri is the only team in the SEC that has yet to win a conference game, or at least up until they played A&M. They were 0-24 in the conference. Everybody destroyed them, and then they play Texas A&M, and not only did they win the series, they swept the Aggies. If I were in your position right now, I would probably just go live in a trash can for the next week or so, because I would need that much time to really process what just happened. But the way it goes.
I mean, if I was an Aggies fan, I mean, yeah, they got swept by Missouri, but Texas losing the series to Florida, that would make me feel a little bit better if I was an Aggies fan, to be honest with you.
Can't deny that.
It makes me feel a little better, but no.
You could probably chop it up as the softball team basically making the baseball team the sacrificial lamb, because the softball team, y'all are destroying it in softball right now. Number 1 overall seed going into the tournament. And that's a big deal. Huge deal right there. Speaking of which, the softball news for the week. Obviously, the NCAA softball tournament is underway, or it will be underway shortly, but Tennessee is coming in as the number 7 national seed, which of course means that Tennessee will be hosting once again, the Knoxville Regional for the 20th straight year. That streak is tied for the longest in the nation alongside Alabama, and the regional will feature Tennessee, Ohio State, North Carolina, and Miami of Ohio. So The first game in the series starts, I believe, on Friday. Yes, on Friday. So we'll see how that pans out. It'll go from Friday to Sunday as per usual, and hopefully it pans out well for us because I would love to see the Lady Vols softball team go a long way in the tournament because I'm doubting that our baseball team is, just to be honest. I think the regionals is reasonable to make it past because it's not guaranteed that we'll host a regional, but by some hope we win that, and then whatever happens in the super regional, just pray at that point.
Yeah. I will say, though, last time the Tennessee baseball team didn't host a regional, they still made Omaha.
Very true. Clemson,
Yeah.
you can chop that up. You can probably just chop that up to the ACC just being terrible all across the nation in every school and every sport.
If we somehow was to get in a region with Clemson, you might as well chalk us up winning that regional.
I wouldn't count on it, but we could only hope.
I just got one thing to say right now. Can the dog control the weather? Does Georgia know how to control the weather? Because tell me why we're denied a chance at a regular season title because of weather, and we're denied a chance to, I would think, embarrass Oklahoma in Athens because of weather. Ain't it just a weird coincidence that we got rained out twice when we're like looking real good? That's weird, ain't it?
I mean, yeah, you could chop that up the same way me and Lucas do, is that there's just a national level hurricane just constantly hovering over Tennessee and also Texas now. Because apparently, it's just we're always on a lightning delay. We're always on some sort of delay because of the weather every single game. So, yeah, you could probably just chop that up as it just being the super hurricane that just hovers over the state of Tennessee or something like that. All right, then. Oh, by the way, shout out to Carolyn Pickens. She earned SEC Pitcher of the Year honors for the second consecutive season. So shout out to her. And both her and Taylor Pennell were named to the All-SEC First Team. So, yeah, shout out to both of them. All right, then. Well, Goob, I wanted to give you a chance, as we do for every special guest on here, to give a preview and prediction of the upcoming schedule in football. And I wanted to make sure you had a shot telling us what you think of Texas A&M. Obviously, I've thrown a couple of strays your way throughout the show. So now I'm interested to see if you're actually buying into some of the hype that these analysts are throwing out, because they're, of course, talking about, already they could be a 10, 11 win team, make the playoffs. I mean, they're ranked on the top 15 and all that. So before we get to their schedule, what did you think of last season, and what do you think going into this year A&M is going to bring to the table?
Last season I thought there would be forward progress, and to be honest, there was, because we did, improve our record and all. But it's just it's just injuries, man. When you lose your top two rushers by like week 9, week 10, it's not good when this team is very predicated on doing the running first and then passing later. It's not good. Luckily, Le'Veon Moss and Ruben Owen should be back full health, performing the way they should this upcoming season. We got a lot of targets for Marcel Reed, which, to be honest, I don't know. It's a good thing, but it's like I don't really trust Marcel to throw the ball yet. I trusted Wegman to throw the ball more, and we failed him like we failed literally every other quarterback since Kellen Mond.
Fair enough. Somebody in the comments said Coach Elmo and Texas say ATM Aggies. And then, of course, it's followed up with the old usual running gag, which y'all Texas.
Oh, Texas 8-4. Oh. When some of these teams are barely struggling to scratch 500. When you're in a situation when you can get to a bowl game pretty much every year except for 22 because App State has it. Yeah, I don't take that for granted. Being able to go bowling every year is pretty nice. It's a good recruiting pitch.
Hey, tell me what you think about this. He said Marcel Reed is another Jalen Milroe. That's an interesting take.
Well, there can never be another Jalen Milroe because no one else really has the benefit of being coached by the greatest to ever do it. Even if it is Jalen Milroe, which is like Anthony Richardson but better. Marcel can be good, but I don't think he'll be like national championship winner. I don't see that happening.
Perhaps, maybe not. Well, here's your schedule. I'm going to put it up on the screen. And, well, I don't know about you, Goob, but the way things look on this schedule, I'm not saying it's dire for Texas A&M, but it certainly makes things very, very difficult for y'all. Now, again, you're used to this because every schedule A&M has is a brutal one, but this one obviously particularly brutal for you. So you start out with UTSA and Utah State. You know, fairly reasonable for everyone here to think that they're going to beat both of those teams, except for the one person who's like, oh, UTSA is a really good team. Stop. First off, Wolverine, a fellow commentator who's in this chat, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, Texas 8-4 forever. I'll give Goob a chance to respond to that.
That's going to be your record too, buddy. I don't know why you're complaining about that right now.
Hey, man, all I'm going to say is, what was the last time Texas A&M had a double-digit win season? Like, when was the last time that happened?
God, it was when I think it was when Manziel was here. It's like a decade
so like back when the dinosaurs roamed the earth. Okay, good to know. Thank you for letting us know.
Dang.
But yeah, whatever. Let's just move back to the irrelevant Aggies where they're gonna just go 8-4 again. So yeah, Goob, what you think about the schedule, buddy?
Hey, look, I promise not to start shit. I don't know why you're being petty right now.
No. Yeah. I'll go ahead and say this. If you do start something tonight, it'll be warranted because he's asking for it. He's basically the kid in the locker room with the sign on the back of his back that says "kick me." He's quite literally asking for it. But we'll wait on that in a minute. First off, after these first two games, you're 2-0. You got to go on the road into what's likely going to be a top 5 team in Notre Dame. Got to face them down in South Bend. What would you say? Do you think A&M can pull off the upset here?
There's a good chance we could. I'm not saying it's guaranteed. There's a good chance just because I don't know what Notre Dame's QB situation is like. I know they have Jeremiah Love, and with him, they'll be good. But in terms of QB-wise, I don't know. Because the one they had was, what was his name? He transferred out.
Riley Leonard?
No, Steve Angeli. He transferred.
Steve Angeli, yeah.
So, it's a toss-up. I could honestly, 60-40, 70-30. Obviously, us being the lesser chances, but it's not impossible that we somehow win that game.
Yeah, I'll say this. I definitely think their quarterback situation is a gigantic mess right now. Because it's looking like it's very possible that everyone's favorite Tyler Buckner could get the start.
Oh God.
Now, if that is the case, then I'll be much more likely to pick Texas A&M to go on the road and beat Notre Dame. But for the sake of, I guess, reality, we'll go ahead and say that they'll start the upcoming freshman CJ Carr. So it's going to be a tough one to win, but it's possible. All right, but after your bye week, you're coming back home. You host the Auburn Tigers. Hugh Freeze kind of in a desperate situation. You know, the last 2 years obviously have not been good for Auburn. I think Hugh Freeze desperately needs a good year this season. Otherwise, he could find himself with the toilet paper and thrown into the trees or something. So, with that being said, Goob, you think A&M beats Barn?
We could beat Auburn. It's not again, any game at home in the SEC is a huge goddamn advantage.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Do you think they will, though? I mean, because I imagine you think they would. They'll beat them.
The problem is when I watch this team play game, because I mean, I'm a student at the university. I've been going there for 2 years. We've blown games. It's the battered Aggie syndrome in me. We're somehow going to drop some of these games on the schedule. We shouldn't, but we will. Auburn may be one of those games, either that or Florida.
Ouch. Yeah, well, in between the Auburn and Florida game, you also got Mississippi State at home. And while they are, I think, improving at a gradual state, they're still not very good. So I think A&M
that's a win for us. I'm sorry, State, but you got to get better, man.
Yeah, to the Mississippi State fan watching, if there's any of you out there, yeah, sorry to hear that.
Wait, State fans exist?
A good amount, surprisingly.
Yeah. But then after Mississippi, you got the Florida Gators coming to Kyle Field, and this is going to be a fun game, I think. Obviously, you beat them in Gainesville last season. Billy Napier and the Florida Gators are going to come back, and they're going to want revenge. And they've got a good team. Obviously, they've got one of the best quarterbacks going into this season, DJ Lagway. And I'm going to stand by. I do think he's one of the best quarterbacks going into this year. Whether or not he lives up to that expectation, I guess we'll just have to find out. But, you know, what do you say the record is in that 3-game? Or actually, let's rope in these last 2 games here. You got Arkansas on the road, and then LSU on the road as well. And those are 2 pretty tough games. Obviously, road games in any SEC stadium is going to be tough for anybody except Vanderbilt or Kentucky. But obviously, that LSU game in Baton Rouge going to be hard for anybody. Arkansas is a tricky team. You don't know what they're going to bring to the table this season. And Sam Pittman's probably going to be coaching for his job. So in that 5-game stretch right there, what do you think the record would be?
Ideally 4-1, with the one being LSU. Realistically, it's going to be 3-2.
That's fair. That's fair. A very fair take. After that bye week, though, you got the last 4 games on the schedule. Missouri on the road in Columbia. That's going to be a hard one, I think, because, well, I don't know. What do you think about Missouri? Do you think that they were just a Luther Burden merchant, or is there a little more to them? And Eli Drakewitz?
For a team that was quote unquote one of the greatest in college football last year, and they only dropped 10 when they came in last year, and that's with Brady Cook and Luther Burden. No. Even if it is on the road, I don't trust Bo Pribula and Drinkwitz and whatever the hell else Mizzou has, because they ain't part of this conference. They ain't a valued member. We don't like them.
All right. Well, hopefully they do like your baseball team and actually live up to the expectation of beating them, as they should. All right, next up. And this is going to be a hard one, I think, but South Carolina coming to Kyle Field. Now, you've had their number for a while now. They did beat you last year in their home field, but now they're coming over here into Kyle Field, and obviously you guys completely own them in College Station. But this could very well be the year that South Carolina gets one over you. They've got a lot coming back. Lenore Sellers, I'm higher on him than I am DJ Lagway, and that's really saying something. So it all depends on what the coaching staff does, him and Shane Bieber, but I don't know. Go believe it to you. Do you think South Carolina goes into y'all stadium and beats you?
I think it'll be close. We should win, but it'll be a close game. It'll be a fun game. I'll go to it. I wouldn't be surprised if game day comes by on one of these games on the schedule, either Florida or South Carolina. even though they should stay the hell out of College Station because we don't win when they're here.
Right. All right, and then obviously everyone's favorite playoff team, the Sanford Bulldogs, are going to beat y'all, so we can just draw that one up as a loss. And then I guess, unfortunately, yeah, it's the truth. Big Brothers, you're going over there to Big Brother. The Texas Longhorns. You played it for the first time in 11 or so years last season, and they came up there to College Station and beat y'all in the most boring game imaginable. But now you have a chance to redeem yourselves and beat them in Austin. Obviously, you know
No.
they're going to. Oh, okay, never mind.
That's not happening. Pigs will fly before that happens. As much as I want it to happen, if Sam Pittman ain't in the air with like a fucking jetpack going like, "Oh, I'm Sam Pittman," ooh, it's not gonna happen.
Rational opinion right there. So looking through this schedule, I'm gonna say A&M is looking at like a 7-win season this year. I think they're better than a 7-win team, but you're looking at one of the hardest schedules here in the conference, on top of a pretty tough non-con slate with Notre Dame being there. So it's going to be tough for anybody. But Goob, what do you think? Where do you think A&M stands this year?
If everything goes well, and that's a huge ass if, we go 9-3. Or if we somehow flip the Notre Dame game 10-2 and we go playoffs. If it doesn't, 8-4 lives forever. I can't avoid it. It's just gonna happen. It's like the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're gonna make our record every year, and we're gonna wave our towels, and nothing's gonna happen.
Lucas is over here giggling like a high school girl. I've been watching him for the past 5 minutes. Lucas, let's hear your take. Where do you have A&M standing at this year?
Well, let me hold on. What was their schedule again? I need to see it again.
It was on the screen.
Sorry, I don't pay attention to trash teams.
So what were you even doing the last 10 minutes while the schedule was on the screen?
Looking at my phone, actually paying attention.
Yeah, no, that's unacceptable. We're gonna have to fire you immediately for that one. Coming on here and acting like the show is not important. What's wrong with you? You need to explain yourself immediately.
Sorry, I'm trying to be a man of the people.
How is that being a man of the people by being on your phone? What sense?
I'm reading the comments.
Oh, that is true.
All you've said was bonfires. Great.
Well, because that Texas fan said it wrong. Shocker, a Texas fan don't know how to spell.
So your contribution to the people is by correcting someone's grammar. Incredibly riveting information right there. All right. Here, let me put back up the schedule. I had closed the tab since I thought everybody got a read on it.
I did promise like a long time ago that I would explain every single goddamn tradition we have if I ever got on the show.
Here we go. All right, Lucas, where do you have A&M at?
All right, I'll just go ahead and hurry it up. UTSA, that's a win. Utah State, that's a win. At Notre Dame, that's probably a toss-up, but I think Notre Dame. I got Notre Dame because it's on the road, and even though Notre Dame has a quarterback problem, I still think Notre Dame is going to be a really good team. They return quite a few good players off of last year's team. Jeremiah Love, who's going to be one of the best running backs in college football this upcoming season. Bye week before Auburn, you guys should beat Auburn. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I have to see something out of Hugh Freeze before I'm ever high on Auburn again. Mississippi State, y'all should win. Against Florida, y'all have them at home. That's a toss-up, but I probably give y'all the win because it's at home. At Arkansas, I'll say that's a win. And then at LSU, loss. At Missouri, I'll say that's a win. South Carolina, I'm gonna say that's a loss. Samford win, and then Texas loss. So I believe that's what 8-4 again. Why, man? Why?
Well, all right. Is that it? No comeback for that one. I'm giving you full permission to lay in on him. I don't care. Look, I've given you full permission to unload the gauntlet because I know you've been wanting to say something, but I've been keeping it professional for the show. Do it.
No,
I'm actively telling you to do it.
I promise to keep it professional and not start crap. If he wants to do that, that's fine. When Cam Ward only leads you to 5 wins instead of your expected 7, that's the only satisfaction on me.
Ooh.
It's an improvement, yes, but not the improvement y'all are looking for.
Well, while these two hash it out, I'm going to go ahead and do some push-ups. I've got plenty to catch up on. By hash it out, I mean hash it out, guys. Don't stare at each other like you're about to kiss. Come on. I'm thoroughly instigating right now, and you guys aren't living up to
your
my
push-ups.
No, I was gonna.
Sir, the Titans suck.
I was gonna use this opportunity to be like, hey, to all the people in the comments, what questions do you have about our tradition? Because I know we have a lot, and I know it's to be honest, it's borderline a cult. So what do y'all want me to explain while I'm here? Because let's be honest, y'all ain't got another A&M fan readily available.
We want you to sing the Texas A&M War Hymn.
Not happening. Not happening. Go get my theme song.
That's 25. Oh, where'd he go? Oh,
I'm back.
Okay. I was like, where'd you go? He just disappeared.
No, yeah, I went to the ether. That is 8-4. Ugh.
Sir, you're stuck there.
Yeah, I know. We probably won't leave. If we do, I don't know.
I
don't know.
See, I'm a bad person for not knowing this, but who even? Oh, you're right. I forgot. You're a Saints man like me. I was like, who are you an NFL fan of? And I was like, I just came to the realization. Oh yeah, it's the Saints. You get to suffer with
also
me.
The Texans. We love the Texans. We love C.J. Stroud.
Woo!
Awesome.
God, all 3 of our teams are just hot piles of garbage, aren't they?
I'll trust Kellen more with Tyler Shuck because he should win the job. I'll trust the process. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, we're not in cap hell anymore, and we can get a better quarterback.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Let me answer some comments real fast. Dude, I can't wait for more college football chaos videos. Easily become one of my favorite college football content. Yeah, man, I'm glad you like it. Well, make sure to be doing that and a whole lot more going into the 2025 season. So I appreciate the support. Let's see. That's why the Titans suck. My brother in Christ, their starting quarterback, just retired. I mean, true, but that's why we got another one. I won't lie about it. Our quarterback situation looks extremely dire.
I mean, our car broke down. I don't.
Right.
What else do you want me to say?
Well, no, the car got impounded permanently.
That's right. Permanently impounded. Let's see.
That's tough. Hey, guys, are you doing this with every SEC team? I'll try to, but definitely no guarantee. I think we're going to have an ACC man on next week, so I don't think that's going to work out the way I was planning, but I don't know. We'll see. All in due time.
Why does the War Hymn have so much strays on Texas? That's because it's the second verse. We have a first verse. We just choose not to use it for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm. It could be Sea Dog, Yo Man Connor, but we'll see. I thought about bringing him on, but he's been really busy with work. All right, boys.
Goodbye to Texas University. So long to the orange and the white.
Yeah, because they give us like 20 million versions of the same towel.
Oh yeah. No, you get a whole lot of that. Question for the A&M fan: is A&M ever gonna win a Natty?
Possibly. Will it happen while I'm a student? No. But will it happen in my lifetime? In theory, it should.
It all starts
just like
with
in theory, Iowa should have a 10-win season, but it's not going to happen.
Remember, with this 12-team playoff system, all you got to do is win 10 games and you're in. So, who knows? Take your yearly whooping to Texas, and then maybe lose to Notre Dame or something like that. Win the rest of your games, and you're in, and you'll have a shot at making it. You never know. You never know. The 12-team playoff system is built to even where Boise State's got a chance. So, who knows?
If we somehow make the playoffs, but it means we lose to Texas, that's fine by me, I guess, because it means we also own the Bayou Bengals, and I hate the Bayou Bengals.
What would come first, the Kentucky College Football Playoff appearance or a Tennessee Final Four? Tennessee Final Four for sure.
Yeah,
Tennessee's at least marginally close to being at that level. Kentucky is the furthest thing away from being bowl eligible.
Yeah.
Texas also says OU sucks in their chant, but then it's too offensive to do the horns down.
Ooh.
Ooh. You
It's
gonna
so
sue me? Remember, they were saying they were going to throw lawsuits to people who throw down the horns down. That's actually hilarious.
They tried.
Yeah. I'm about as scared as I'm sure the ACC is of Florida State suing them over the contract they made up.
A&M beats LSU in College Station. LSU beats A&M in Baton Rouge. Yeah, that's kind of how it goes. I'm looking to snap that trend, but unless our offense somehow breaks the Cajun magic, our mobile quarterback, Brian Kelly, cover your ears. It's a mobile quarterback. It's not happening.
Here's what I don't understand, and this is about SEC scheduling. You've hosted Florida now like 4 or 5 times, but you've only hosted Georgia once. Like
we didn't even host
the
them.
entire
We went to
time
Athens.
that you've been a part of the SEC. You've only hosted Georgia once. I don't get it. Obviously, it's not your fault. You weren't the one that made the schedule, but the only one that can be blamed for scheduling in any circumstance is Auburn, because those people were crying so hard about, we got to play Georgia and Alabama back to back, and it's making me cry like a big old baby. Boo, boo. Oh, you're in the SEC.
Here's the issue. The issue right here.
Yeah, that could also be the case. But Auburn is definitely, because they started this whole thing with a different scheduling. They switched to that was the reason we started having to play Georgia at the end of the season, because they switched the Tennessee and Auburn games time. And so Auburn now plays Georgia at the beginning of the season, or the first few SEC games of the year. And then meanwhile, we play Georgia at the end of the year more times than not. Or at least we used to. Now that's changed. Now we're playing Georgia at the start of the season. And, well, Auburn's still Auburn. And at this point, I don't even know what they're doing anymore. But they'll figure it out.
The thing with Georgia is we haven't even hosted them. We've only been on the road to Athens.
That's right.
They have yet to come to College Station.
They've never gone to College Station. I
think y'all have been exactly once.
That's actually insane. Wow. And now the odds look even less likely of that ever happening, because 16 teams in the SEC, it's going to be forever before we see Georgia going on the road to College Station. It's just never going to happen.
Because it was always like this. Back when the East and the West were a thing, which is, it sounds ancient now, but it was like 2 years ago now. When the East and West were a thing, we're in the West, which makes sense. The one East team we played every year South Carolina.
Yep.
For the greatest honor on the planet, the battle for the Bonham Trophy. Yes, there is a trophy. No, I don't know why.
And for the longest time, you were their daddy. They couldn't beat y'all if it to save their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Please move the conference games to 9. I would be completely fine with that as well. Everybody else has moved their conference game slate to 9 games. We might as well join in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They gotta incentivize it for us. If they're only gonna give us $5 million as a conference to split, like, or not even $5 million, it's like $5 billion or whatever to split evenly or whatever. It doesn't make sense. In a revenue sharing sense, it doesn't make sense.
Exactly. Telling the facts like they are. All right, guys. Well, it's 9 o'clock, so we might as well go on ahead and head on out of here for the night. Goob, you got anything else to say? Well, first of all, let the people know where they can find you. That's very important.
I mean, I do have a YouTube channel. I don't know if I'm ever gonna post on it again. If I do, it'll be when like college football and NFL start up again. Probably at least try to stream either the A&M, or not even the A&M, the Texans games. Probably do that. But yeah, it's Goobarian, I guess, on YouTube. It's I would have to post it somewhere where y'all can find it because I only got like 4 subscribers.
Gotcha. Anything else going on with you this week?
I mean, I'm going to Europe on like Thursday or
Ooh, fun.
whatever the 15th is.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking forward
I
to
guess
hearing
one-
about that.
That's if I remember. Because
Right.
I will or may not be drinking.
Ooh, yeah. I can't say I blame you for that. That's going to be interesting, I'll say that much.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, last thing before we get on out of here. One last thing before we go. Can we all express our frustrations about the fact that Texas and Ohio State is kicking off at noon? That is so annoying. They say, oh, it's going to be on big noon kickoff. There's nothing big about noon. Every time you say big noon, that's a lie. There's nothing big about it. Nobody's waking up that, oh, yeah, noon game, baby. I love them noon games. No, we are all waiting very patiently for all the late night prime time games. That's what everybody's got their eyes on. The fact that wasn't a night game is just completely. It makes me lose all sort of
It's
respect for
asinine.
Fox.
I mean, for us here, because we're Central Zone. That's 11 a.m. I'm not getting up 11 a.m. on Saturday to watch Ohio State and Texas. You got your dad in mind? That's the big reason why I don't watch a lot of Big Ten games, because I'm not waking up at noon for that. It's insane.
Sad, man. It's ridiculous. But yeah, Goob, glad to have you on the show, buddy. Really appreciate you being on here. Lucas, if we see since Julio's not here, I can't take you out of the panel because then it'll be just 2 people, and that it makes my stream weird. So you got to stick around here for a minute longer. Lucas, you got anything else to say before we call it a night?
Nothing much. Just go Vols, tighten up. Hopefully this baseball team gets it back on track.
Tighten down. Tighten down. Yeah.
Don't listen to. Yeah, I don't listen to nerds. But yeah, tighten up, go Vols, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
FTC, baby. That's what I have to say.
All right.
Okay, we can at least agree on that.
All right, well, you heard from them. I'll tell you guys this much. Hopefully the baseball team gets it together. We'll be counting on them, praying that they somehow start existing at some point in due time. Oh boy, looky there. Yet another thunderstorm directly coming my way. I've only seen that 25 times today. Do you guys know the storms are so strong today? I was worried you weren't going to be able to do the show because earlier today, the power line, the power box directly next to my house blew up. I thought it was a lightning strike. It was so loud, but literally, yeah, the transformer right out there blew up. And so they had to send KUB out here, and thankfully they got that fixed this evening. So that's the first time I'll ever say it. Shout out to KUB because they came out here while it was a torrential downpour.
Oh, speaking of which, how was it when Queso came to Knoxville? Because I saw there was an earthquake.
Oh yeah, no, crazy stuff. 4.1 earthquake hit Knoxville. That was absolutely crazy. I was laying in bed actually. I was sleeping in late, and then I just feel myself going. It's like, oh, this is quite the new feeling. I guess it's one of those military helicopters. Because usually whenever I feel that vibration from the house, it's usually one of those big fat military helicopters flying over. But no, this time it was an actual earthquake. So nothing happened, no damages reported anywhere, thankfully. It's a pretty small earthquake, granted, but still, you know.
Yeah.
The only thing damaged that day was my sleep schedule. So, yeah. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate all of y'all for being on here tonight. Final reminder, by the way, this is big. I'm going to be doing Deluxe Dynasty streams the next 2 weeks. Friday and Saturday, I will be streaming the Tardaria Dynasty. We're going to be going through all of season 4, and then the following week I'll be going through all of season 5. The reason why I'm doing 2 of those is because the following week after that, so I think starting on the 28th, I'll be heading to Gulf Shores for the week, so obviously I won't be able to do a Tardaria stream then. But yeah, love y'all. Appreciate y'all for being on here tonight. Thank you again to Goob for being on the podcast tonight. And as always, power to Tardaria and go Vols. And we'll see y'all next Monday.